Hello everyone and welcome to part 10 of my Pokemon DS hacking tutorials, where today I'm going to show you what is most definitely the most complicated episode I've had to get together. But don't let that scare you. It's not going to be much more complicated than things we've done in the past. It was just hard to get the steps together to make this as easy as possible. But what I'm hoping to bring you today is, as the title says, which are steps that'll work on both Gen 4 and Gen 5 games. Normally I just talk about Pokemon Platinum in the video directly, but for how many files are involved with this, I think I'm going to showcase each of their locations for you, so you can see where they are. Okay, so we will start with Pokemon Diamond and Pearl. That is from the root, you go under Graphic, come on down to Trainer Case, you can unpack it, and you'll see that it is Sprite 27 using palettes 0 through 6. So each of these. And then we're looking at Platinum. It's very similar. It's root to graphic, trainer case. But this time the Sprite is number 31. And the palettes it is also 0 through 6. But also we're going to include 26. Then we have Heart Gold Soul Silver, which has an entirely different naming scheme. Oh goodness. So it's A049, where the Sprite is number 44. And it also uses palette 0 through 6. And then we have Black and White, who is A040, Sprite 31, and this time it's palettes 5 through 11. And then lastly, we have Black and White 2, who is A039 with Sprite 36, and using 8 through 14. Now you may be thinking, wow, you just threw a lot of numbers at me. How am I going to remember them all? Well, do I have good news for you? As a side note, the zip folder of tools you can get from the description of my videos now includes a known Sprite locations folder, which just has a shortcut to a Google Doc that the Discord server has been working on, where we have made note of all the main Sprite locations that we've come across. And this includes Trainer Card, where I'll tell you all the same information. And for ones like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, also mention ones that you don't have to do, but may end up being necessary later. We're not sure. But yeah, so as of now, when you're looking at other videos of like where are the back sprites, the front sprites, the overworld sprites, this should be able to tell you for each of the Gen 4 and Gen 5 games. And I made it a Google Doc just so that when we learn it, I'm going to update the document itself so that you can go to the link and see any changes we've made immediately. Normally the tools folder only gets updated when I upload new videos, which as you have seen can take a little bit of time. And also, the folder now includes, in its layout pattern folder, the patterns you need for each of the trainer cards. Now, if you are editing Diamond and Pearl or Platinum, you want to look at these sprites here on the left, because you'll see boxes covering the two characters. Unfortunately, these boxes represent the drawable area that the trainer card uses, which for some reason, I guess to save space, is not a perfect box. So at this point, you want to make sure that the edited sprite you're going to use can fit inside these boxes. But if you're doing Heart Gold Soul Silver or any of the later games, you're okay. They actually use the full box. Also, Diamond and Pearl and Platinum may look the same, but their boxes are actually slightly different, so make sure you use the right pattern for the right game. Now you'll notice I have Diamond and Pearl, Heart Gold Soul Silver, and Platinum, but I don't have Black and White. And that's because if you look at a game like Diamond, and you look at the sprite, 27 should be, he's all split up like that, and mixed together with the female character. So you'll need to have the pattern to be able to piece them apart and put them back together, like you did with the back sprites and all that. However, if you look at black and white, and you look at the card, 36, they're actually stored together, which is so useful. So there's just a line splitting down the middle, and if you're editing Gen 5, you're going to have a lot less steps to do. So be grateful that's what you're doing. Okay, well, that's all the locations, where in this video, I'm going to talk about Platinum as I usually do. But there's one more thing I want to mention for those of you who have come here for Pokemon White. For some reason, black and white trainer cards are different from each other, whereas all the other ones match, like black 2, white 2, diamond and pearl, they're all fine. But unfortunately, if you do go back and you look at the Sprite sheet, we have made a separate section under black and white for white, where the palettes, even though they're in the exact same spot, they're in the exact same colors, they don't seem to actually affect the sprite when you try to change it. So at the moment, what I'm about to show you doesn't work for white. But later on, if we learn more about it, I'm going to put it here in the Google Doc. So if you're here for white, check the document and see if maybe later we figure out how to do it, and it'll be defined right here. Whew, okay. But with that, I think that's a long enough intro. I can go ahead and show you the steps. So we'll go ahead and close all these down. Clean up a little bit. However, before we can begin, I do need to complicate things just a little bit further. Part of the reason why this took so long to make is because there's a couple different ways you can go about this, where each kind of go through their own limitations. So what I'm going to do in this episode is I'm going to show you the free way on how to do this. So well, maybe not a free way, but a way that I know should work for everyone, even if you don't have Photoshop or a Sprite. However, if you do specifically have Photoshop, if you look in the description of this video, at the very bottom, you will see a link to a hidden video that was uploaded with this one, which at this point you could now switch to for an easier method than one I'm about to show. And I should mention at this point, if you go to Adobe's website, they actually have Photoshop CS2 available for free for you to just get. I haven't been able to get it myself to try it, but I'm told it should work the same way that the newer ones do. So technically, if you can get that to work, the second video is also a free method, but I'm not really sure about it, so I'm going to make it a separate video, so you still have this method just in case. But okay, for those of you who don't have Photoshop, let's get into the brass tacks here. The first thing is that we are actually pretty much done with Tink for the moment, so I'm going to minimize it. We're going to go into graphic scale. Now again, this is the free working index program that I know of, and the install file and also a link to their website is included in my tools zip folder. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is have your edited sprite ready. Now you'll see a guy you've seen quite a lot up to this point if you've been watching each of my episodes. Okay, you can click on that to zoom in. There he is. And basically, I have the same sprite as the regular Lucas. I just don't have a backpack, so he's holding a Pokeball instead and stuff like that. So the first thing we need to learn is what is his palette. So we need to index him, which is just all frames, color depth. Now, a couple of these different options can work, but the best results I get are type B, 8 BPP right here. So I click OK. And you'll see his colors appear in here in the corner. So for him, his pants are black. So actually, like all the colors that are not used are just kept as regular black here. So these two are technically empty. But these slightly less dark ones, you can see the hex values down here changing, are not. So these are the colors we have to care about. Oh, and also for simplicity's sake, I gave him the same background color that the original sprite uses as well. Just for consistency. You don't have to, but it may help you out later to do so. Okay, now that we have that, I'm going to shrink this down a little bit. And we're going to open up a new tool that I haven't really shown you yet. That's one called Console Tool. And Go through here. Okay. It works a lot like Tink, where you can go open, and then you just go to wherever you have stored... Oh, I'm in documents. To wherever you have stored your ROMs. Here we go. Go to Platinum. Awesome. It's in slightly different order, but the root is now called Contents. Then under there, you'll just see the same path. For Platinum, that was Graphic. And down onto Trainer Case. Now, when I double-click on this, it's going to open this in a second tab. And now I can see all the different files. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this tool to directly edit the palettes, like 00 here. Okay. And now we will see why this is a little more complicated to do. Unlike most palettes that we've worked with that are just based on 16, this palette is used for the entire trainer card, as well as the male and female sprites. Now, we don't have to change all the colors. Don't worry about that. All you have to do is edit this line here for the male character, or the line below it for the female character. The easiest way to view these lines is to make this palette a 16 by 16 box. It may open up to be a little bigger and all the colors get stretched out. So you want to shrink it down to where... Okay. Yeah, these will be in the corner, so 16 by 16, just like that. I figure that's the easiest way to view this. Also, it's small and you can see everything. And now this may be coming across as much more complicated than previous sprites. And you're like, well, why do I need to do this for this sprite and not for other ones? Well, because there's a limitation in Tink, which I think it might be best if I show you. Alright, so you go in here, you can look at the same sprite. We'll look at number 0 here, view. So here he is. You can look, he's the exact same as he appears over here. But all of these are black. All of these. And a lot of these up here are also black. You have lots of basic white and all the same red here. And you have a lot of duplicating colors. And the reason that's a problem is that if you export, you have different options here. I'm going to do as a PNG, so that saves it as a picture. Put it on the desktop, save it, it'll appear right there. Cool. And what I can do is come down to where the sprite is, then view him. Okay, looks all good. I can just replace palette as we've picked up before, import, and pick that same box. So here, looks all good. All the colors are there and nice, but the way Tink handles this makes this a little hard to work with. So now we can look at the changed palette we just replaced with that method here, view it, and you can see the colors are there, but when Tink rebuilds a palette, it only puts a color in there once. So all the duplicates are lost, and the game has to have it in that specific order for them to read the colors correctly. So all this extra work is just to preserve the padding that this palette uses over here. If you don't do that, you're going to ruin the whole card. But doing that is actually not going to be too hard. All you have to do is, well, first you're going to see that this color is the very top one there. So we don't need to include the first background. The palette already knows it. So we're going to start with the second color in the line, this one. And then we'll click here for the same thing. All right, and what you want to do is just take these 3 hex values here and put them in here. Okay, so we're looking at 153, 170, 187. Now, you may have noticed already that these colors, when I click off of them, I'll just click here, change a little bit. I don't know the precise reasons as to why, but Console Tool will not be able to accept just any hex values that you want, like most programs that draw can. So there's going to be a little bit of shifting on here that you have to look into later. That'll be a little important later, but I'll explain that once we get to that point. For now, we'll just go here, And check out the next color. So that's all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. And again, even though it's white, you can actually see it's not quite fully there. But that's as high as we can go, so that's going to have to be as close as we can go. Third color. 204. 221. 255. Now, at least to my eye, the colors that these change to always seem to be similar enough, but you can adjust them up and down as you need to until something looks better to your eye when you're comparing this color to this color. Okay, we go to the fourth color. So now this palette has the colors that you want on the right line. However, the colors in there are not the same ones that you use for your sprite. So now we have to go backwards the other way to make these colors match these colors, since you can't accept every color you wanted to give it. But that's not too hard. You just go ahead and click on the first color. Like that one, which is the second color. So we're still ignoring that one. And we can just hit down arrow, down arrow, down arrow. Then I go to the next one. Now I should say that since we've indexed the image, the changes we're making are actually changing the colors right now on the sprite. But since they're so close together, you're not seeing it to your naked eye. So if I was to take this guy and go, you can see the colors actually changing. So even though when I'm doing this, it doesn't look like I'm doing anything, we're making sure that the colors on that sprite will match what's in Console Tool and it will work. So again, bring this down. And the last one, which is 56, 64, 80. Another acceptable color. Cool. So they match. So he is slightly changed, but now matches what's in here, so they can go in correctly. So I can now take that, save it, and I'm going to call him J for palette 2, like so. Save it. So this is good. Now, unfortunately, unlike Tink, Console Tool cannot take this palette, just save it, and the ROM is different. You have to save it and then import it in with Tink. So you go File, Export, and then you're going to keep it as a default here, and save it as 00. So I'll just open that's still the ROMs folder. There you go, desktop, save, right here. Nice. Alrighty then. Then we come back into Tink, and now I messed up this palette, but now I can just, you don't want to use import, you can just use change file here. And we can locate it. Oh, you know what's probably the very first? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so now nothing's changed. But you click on it, hit view. There you go. And you can see that your line is perfectly fine right here. So then we come back down here, and we look at number 31. I messed this all up because it doesn't match anymore. But we want to leave this on swap to original palette. That'll take what we just put into here and apply it to the image. So we leave it on swap, import, and we find the guy I just came up with. Okay, is there any way I can show you that he looks okay? Well, kinda. Okay. So you can at least see that all the colors seem to be there. The reason why I want to show you this thing, because it's not the right shape, so it's not going to accept this correctly, is that if we did a swap to original palette, import, and we didn't do that change here in graphics Gale, like, so this guy is the old colors that it had. And you did swap, import, and pick our original guy. You can see his colors aren't there. Because what swap does is it looks for the existing colors on the image, looks for those exact 3 hex value numbers in the palette, and if it finds it, it will then point those pixels to that color. But if it doesn't find the color, it just ignores it. Just flat out ignores it. So you have to make sure that they match, and you import your color in there, and it'll find all your colors, and then it'll come in looking great. So now we've accomplished our goal of getting our palette in here. Having it keep all the black padding and all that. And technically this is in here, which we'll piece them with the pattern soon. However, before we can piece apart the sprite, there's one more limitation that we have to worry about. And that is the way that swap points the colors on your sprite to the colors on the palette. So as I said before, we have many duplicates. Like all these are just basic black 000. These are all white. These are all the same red. But our challenge here is to limit our sprite's colors so that they only show up on their line. So again, male sprite is here, female sprite is here. And what I have is an example of why you want to make sure your colors are all on that one line. So if I go here, I do change file, and this time go to desktop and my test folder. I have this, which is a same edited palette but for a different sprite. So we come on down 31 view. He's still all messed up, especially more so now. All right, so keep on swap, import, and we want to come back to the top level, and then I will find red case dupe. Okay, so he comes in looking all nice. All his colors are there. This is red, but as a platinum shaped trainer card. Okay, and I think we can agree that he looks good. Okay, and then I replaced the second palette with a similarly changed palette in here, like so. View it. Okay, so the line is the same between these two, but if I take this and I view the guy I just imported, view him, he's blue now. Now, why is that? If his red color, look at this, is supposed to be right here. Well, it's because this red color is the exact same shade of red as this color. I did this on purpose to show you what's going to happen. But if you look at the second one, for that exact same pixel right there, it is now mapped to this one, which turns blue for this palette, even though we still wanted to have the red right here. So this is a very rare situation where you may have picked some colors that are already used in the palette. And for those few of you who accidentally did this, I'm showing you these extra steps just to make sure, very, very sure, there's not going to be any weird color swapping between the two. So follow me, and I'll show you how to prevent this. So we'll minimize this guy, we'll get you out of the way. When you get there? Anyway, so we'll take a look. And what I mean by the same color is that if this color and these values match this color and these values, then that mapping issue will occur that I just showed you. Now, if you look at them though, very lightly, this is 80 and this is 96. I mean, heck, if you just turn this up by 1, which I think goes up to, oh, it jumps like 104, nah. Or it goes down and it's 80. So you can go to 88, 96, any of those other numbers are fine. It's only if they are the exact same will this occur. So you can look at these and see which of these look the same. And you can compare them visually. And that'll work just fine. What most of us are going to run into is that I used basic white for the skin and then basic black here for the border, which most of you will do. But because of that, then the first time I reach white, that's up here, or black, which could be as soon as here, yeah, and I'm up to these. So all you need to do is come here and just take any of these down by 1. That's 240. So now this is a different shade than this. Okay. And you come back to your sprite, go to the white, take this down to 240. Okay. So now this has to fall on here. And the same thing with black. You can just make any of these go up by 1. Should be by 8, I guess. So we go to the black. And then you'll go up by 8. Okay, so that now matches. Like I said before, the indexing is there, so these changes are automatically being applied to the image. Now visually, I think I'm good. But now, I want to show you a trick that I learned, where you can easily see if the colors of your sprite are already on the palette. And that's with a Sprite. And the beauty of this is, so at least right now, a Sprite still comes with a free trial. And you can do what I'm about to show you with that free trial, so this still counts as a free method. I've already exported this palette, the PNG of that palette, which I showed you before. So I'm drag him in here. So you'll see that it's the same kind of thing where a Sprite has removed all the duplicate colors. But that's fine, because all we need are this to know each color once. So I'm going to take this guy, where we now think that he's good. So I'm going to save him. And he is this one, palette 2. Drag him in here. Okay. And I'll just zoom in real far. And I'm just going to take... Actually, I don't even need to use the eyedropper. What am I doing? It's better you just click on that, and then you click here. That's fine. Click that one. Click there. We're just going to make a nice little bar. And you'll see why in just a sec. There. 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 Zoom out just a little bit. And there. Okay. Well, this already matches the background, so we just need to worry about these guys. So I'm going to copy this line. I'm going to come over to this. I'm going to make sure you're not indexed. Okay, if it's indexed, then it would ruin the colors. I'm about to paste in. Paste it in there. Okay. So now they're on the palette. And now if you use the eyedrop tool and you click on it, it will put this as your brush if you haven't used a Sprite before. But it looks at this palette, which is pulled from that image. And if the color you selected is not there, it gives you this red dot. So you can just go click, 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 click. Oh, see, this one had disappeared for it. Click, click, click. And that one had disappeared for it too. So for my Sprite, those two are still duplicates. So I will go, aha! And then I can come here. And I know it's a duplicate. So I'll just take him in one of these directions. So 56 to 64. That's plus 8. So that makes sense. Come here. Pick that dark red. And do the same thing. Now it's 64. And what was the other one? Was this brown? No, it was the last one. Okay. So, should be this guy. Yeah, it's 2 after here, 2 after here. Okay, yeah, that matches. So then here, 1, 2, this guy. Looks good. So we can take any one of these. I'm going to take the red one, since it's the lowest, and make it 64. Okay. And then 64, we can save it again. Oh, cancel. I don't want that. I need to make sure there's no confusion. I'm going to close the original here. Don't save now. Okay, now I can save it. Good. Come back in here. Once I can take this, I can go Control Z, put that out of there. Okay, now back where we were. Bring our 2 palette guy back in. Do the same thing. One more there. And copy it. Check out those ones. Control C. Back again. Control V. Amen. We watch that dot. Now he's good. And now he's good. And we have confirmed with that none of the other colors, which are all jumbled around here, match these. So this line is now completely and totally unique, and your sprite is indexed to use those unique colors. So effectively, we have forced your sprite to be on this line. So no matter how the palettes change in the future, he will not randomly change any bits on you. It's a nice, clean edit. All right, so he's all saved, and we can close this for now. That, we'll minimize that because we need that for later. I don't think we will. So, like I said in the beginning of the video, the sprite uses multiple palettes. So we have to take this line and put it on each of the palettes, now that we're sure that it's completely unique. Now, to be really clear here, because I almost made a mistake, when you save a palette in Console Tool, it makes a new tab, which is a duplicate of that same one. But the changes I just made to make sure they're unique are on this one. So you can see this one is still the old colors. So to make sure that I preserve the one where I make the unique line, I'm going to close that one. Just so that I know that this is the one that I really want. So first, I am going to export this again to preserve it, which I put it on the root. And then I save it. Should I want to overwrite the file? Oh, yes. Good. And then again, you see now that's the duplicate. But now both these have the same. So that's 64. And that same color I just changed is all 64 now. So good. All right, cool. Be very careful with these colors or you can create a bit of a mess. So now, back when we opened up this trainer case, we can go back to this and click on number 1. Open up as a new tab. And with this method, we are able to use a simpler way to duplicate. You can't copy and paste, unfortunately, but what you can do is come here, get that first color, double click this number, then Control C, come back over here, click that first one, and Control V. And that, yep, they match perfectly. So this one value is the accumulation of all these numbers. So then you just keep walking back and forth, double click, Control C, double click, what up? Click over, double click, Control V. There you go. Then here, Control C. Come over here. And you do want to be careful, because if you do Control V on the wrong one, for some reason you can't Control Z and back out of it. So you have to get it back a different way. That's very annoying. But, as long as you're careful, this shouldn't be too bad. This one's just, this none here. This is the one shade off of black. There, double click V. Okay, V. Looking good so far. Okay, next one. And then the red. C, V, the last one here. Didn't change these two. I don't need to worry about them. Okay, and then I would just go ahead and export, save. Oh, wait, where'd that go? I didn't show up there. Oh, it went into ROMs. No. You want it to go on desktop, save, and it'll appear here. There you go. Make sure you keep all your files right here. Know where you can find them. Okay, and then you rinse, wash, repeat for every palette between 0 and 6 on this list here. Thankfully, I've done the baking show thing where I have a bunch of them ready already, so we're good to go from that point. Okay, and once all your palettes are ready, you have 0 through 6. And also remembering with platinum, you're also doing number 26 here on the bottom. Okay, and once all your palettes are ready, get rid of console tool. We can get to the nitty gritty of splitting up your sprite. So again, this is the free version. So I'm going to use things that don't cost any money. So I'm going to use GIMP for this one. However, you can use any program that uses layering, like Photoshop and Sprite both do layering. I believe people use one called Paint.net, I think does layering. I'm not sure on that, but anyone who does layers is fun. I'm just showing you one that I like to use that doesn't cost any money. Okay, so first we can drop in the first image that I have in the layout folder. That's the shape. And this is it all together. And you can see, unfortunately, that this guy is not a square. So before you get your sprite all ready together, you want to make sure it can fit this shape here. Ooh boy, which thankfully by accident we just did it the lazy way, so that's gonna be the next layer I drop in at my guy. There you go. You can see that here are the layers, and he just matches up perfectly. So he's inside the boxes, and I can confirm that as well because I made another version that you can just drop on top of it. Boom. I'll fit it. Now this is easy for me because I made my sprite image the same size as the background image, and also I made this the same size as well, so they all fit neatly over each other. But you want to make sure that when all is said and done, that when you layer the box, it's in the exact same position as the background boxes. And then put your guy inside those boxes, and then you're good to go. So once that's ready, you can go back into Tink, who we've still got open here. Now, I've kind of ruined this one with the palettes. We want to get the original image. So what I'm going to do is close down this guy. Yeah. Open it again. Back under ROMs. And platinum. Or we can go graphic. Trainer case, pack, and 31 and view. Oh, double click, then 31 view. There we go. So we just need to export this guy right on the desktop. Right there, cool. Okay, and we can't drag him in here because then it'll just layer him on top of this. You have to go File, Open. Desktop, and it's trainer case 31. Just like that. Okay. So then we can hold control, mouse wheel in, and we can take the palette here, drag it on top. Boom. All the pieces are there. Yeah. So the pattern, I made the exact same size as the default for when you export it. So you can just drag it right on top and you'll know that it's in the right position. Try to keep this thing as easy as I can. Okay, and that came in as a separate layer here and here. So for this one, you do want to add another layer manually. So, okay. Then we'll put that in between the two. And we're going to keep that layer highlighted. That's very important. You come here. And we're going to use the rectangle select tool. So, oh, wait, nope. Before we do that, we want to make sure this layer for where my sprite actually is, we don't want to highlight just the box. Get the middle layer from this one. Copy it. With Control C. And then come here, Control V. zoom in and walk him to the appropriate light blue box. Here. And then you keep pasting all the pieces into these boxes until you get the right shape. To get the... Wait, did I drag on the right one? What's this layer's name? Oh, I put on the... Oh, I put on the original one. Oh, no, 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 no. Get rid of him. That is the first guy. No, 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 no. I need 2. Because that's the one that I saved out of graphic scale with the edited color. There, okay. Phew. Glad I caught that. So that means in here, we want to go here and Control Z, get that out of there. Then we, you know, copy that, paste it into that. Boom! So it looks like that. Figured I'd showed you guys enough stuff so far. Then you can get rid of the background. Be all good. Get rid of the pattern, so you're all good. Then you can file, save as. And we'll save it right to the desktop. Let's call it JSplit. Oh, no, that's right. Important thing about GIMP, if you choose to use it, is you don't save the images. That just saves it as a like a editing file. No. You have to go file, export as. Okay, then JSplit. You see it's .png, looks good. Going to the desktop, love it. Export. Okay, there's JSplit. All right, cool. And now, ladies and gentlemen, if we go back into Tink, like so. We take this guy, we need our change file. I'm going to use my Baker Show copies here that I made before. So we're going to go into here. These are the same thing. They are different RLC and saved out of console tool. Just to be clear. So we go and then like that. Change file, save. You can click, view. There's my edited line. Nice. Okay, so same thing. This one, change file is number 1. Do change file as number 2. You change file as number 3. You change file number 4. You change file number 5. You change file number 6. And since this is platinum, you also gotta make sure you change file number 26. Well, that's all good. We'll go back to number 1. Like so. Double click it. View 31 here. Where you can see this guy's all messed up because he has the new colors. Let me leave that on swap, import, and we look for JSplit that I made over in GIMP. And there he is. And then you can go ahead, double click the next one, view him, go all the way down. And this will give you a preview of what the sprite will look like each time your card would change color in the game. Go down to 6. And as long as he keeps looking good, no colors are changing, which I wish there was a zoom feature here to see it more clearly, but you can export it to view it if you really want to be careful. Alright, but the pièce de résistance is number 26 when you view, because unlike the rest of them that have a similar design, where some of the blacks and the whites are in the same spot and the blues change and stuff like that, you can see the 26 is very different. So we're not actually sure if 26 is important for this during the game, but I found it to be very useful to change, because as a very last step to check your card, you double click on it, go down to your guy, and view him. If he's still good with a different background, that means that you very much did isolate your colors to the proper line, and that's good. So I like that as a nice finisher to say, my God, I'm done. Okay. I'm not sure if I can really express how complicated that was all to figure out, because if you're coming at it new, it sounds kind of complicated, but not too much. Maybe some of these things seem more complicated than they had to be, but let me assure you, we put a lot of work, especially the guys in the Discord. I want to give a huge shout out to as a thank you for helping me figure this out, because we probably put about 2 months of research into getting this video to happen. And like I said before, if you have Photoshop or can get Photoshop from the Adobe website, the CS2 version, you can go to the description in the video to find that other secondary tutorial, which will include much of what you saw here, but a lot of steps can be skipped because you don't have to use console tool and its limited colors. But if not, I hope these steps helped you out. And again, if any of you figure out what needs to be done for Pokemon White, let me know. Come to the Discord, give me a YouTube comment, something. And once somebody does, I will put it up on that known sprite list for us all to use for the future. But alright, I wish you a good day from here. Be sure to get a new copy of the tools folder from the links in my description. And I wish you a good day from here. Good night, everybody!